Hello everyone, welcome to the very first episode of The Blueprint. And I have here with me Tage Kene-Okafor, who is the Africa reporter at TechCrunch. And today he's going to be unpacking the critical role of communications in fundraising. Together, we're going to explore the do's and don'ts of fundraising messaging from seed rounds to Series A. How are you doing, Tage?
I'm good, Oyinda. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. I'm just going to jump right into it. Let's get started.
Sure.
You have covered dozens of startup raises across Africa. What are the common messaging patterns you see, both good and bad, when founders go public with a round? Tell us.
I think the patterns in terms of how founders go about announcing successful raises is they keep their messaging concise, clear, and straight to the point, right? There is no vagueness in what the mission is. First of all, clear messaging, then also like mission kind of driven story. We raised this round for a particular purpose, right? Not just like we raised it for nothing. We raised it to do something, right? When you put that message in and it's clear what the opportunity is, opportunity statement in your business, right? People are able to realize they feel what you're talking about. Take, for instance, the banking the unbanked message or trope, right? That almost every fintech talks about. It's a very catchy statement. That's why most of them use it, right? Because obviously there are like millions of unbanked people in Nigeria and Africa, and you're building this fintech, this digital bank to bank them, right? So it just gets boring when it becomes common. But if, for instance, you're doing the work and showing the numbers and highlighting that, then your messaging in that aspect is clear. And then when it's not clear, for instance, when you're saying, oh, we want to revolutionize an industry, what does it mean, right? To revolutionize in like an industry, unless you're bringing a solution or building a product that actually radically changes what's been built in the past, right? If not, don't use words like that.
When is the right time for a founder to share fundraising news publicly? Can you tell us when?
I think when a founder or the startup has momentum, if you're scaling really fast and like you're moving from pre-seed to seed, from seed to Series A in terms of numbers and traction, revenue-wise, for instance, for a seed company, you have like $1 million. At Series A, you have about like 3, right? And you want to send signal to your investors or to future investors, right, that you are scaling accordingly for the level of stage you are. Right, I can back up with good numbers. That's a good time to announce.
Okay, fantastic. So at this stage is where staying quiet is more strategic.
Oh yeah, definitely. More often than not, when I talk to like founders, especially in fintech, they talk about regulation, right? And how it's either they're trying to escape billing or taxes, right, from the regulators, and they want to just quiet down and not announce. So I think it's even better you don't announce at all down saying, oh, we raised an undisclosed amount. First things first, TechCrunch will not even want to report that, right? Local media too are kind of, not, they don't kind of favor that news. So it's better you don't even announce until you do whatever you have with the regulators, and you then announce. I mean, some don't care. They just go out and announce and sort out wherever they have with the regulators. Then also competition-wise, if you don't want your competitors to know, how much you have, your arsenal, like to go to the market, you can also keep quiet. I mean, there are a few examples of that have played out over the course of, but I won't mention names today.
A lot of founders are on this table, but I'm just going to ask you, since you're the expert. So what are the things that founders often overshare during a fundraising announcement, and what's that one thing that they also under communicate that could make a big difference?
Okay, oversharing, I would say, so there's a thin line between you have like good numbers and overstating your numbers. Founders do that a lot. It's like make it till you make it, kind of just scenario. I mean, I feel it's also the venture game where people like to overstate things and try to meet up with it before it catches up with them or whatever, right? For instance, I'll be like, oh, yeah, we just started this company and we're growing 50% month on month in revenue. And for a fact that that number is not right, right? Because ultimately, like in the next couple of months or a year, when something bad happens, like people are going to point out to that number. Like you were making this revenue or you're making this profit. So what happened? They start saying, you don't know what to communicate because you kind of lied there, right? Inflating or projecting figures that aren't there is one of the common mistakes I have seen play out. And I only know this because obviously other people who are familiar with the numbers will be like, that number, there's something sus there, until eventually you kind of see that, yeah, maybe this way we're right. I mean, it could also be that they are hitting too, right? But time will tell eventually. Right? Then understating, I would say, is the why now of your raise, your business, your focus. Like, it has to kind of communicate. You have to kind of communicate like, okay, we're raising this for this, and this is how we intend to put the money to achieve this. Like, founders should put more effort into doing that.
How can founders strike the right balance between crafting an exciting narrative and avoiding exaggerated claims?
So, I mean, just be honest. Like, again, founders do this because they want to look better in the eyes of investors and raise money. There's a recent casualty of, like, in this AI world that happened, I think, a month back. So there's this company called Builder.ai. It's Microsoft backed. I think they raised about $1 billion, right? And essentially, I think they said you can use AI to just, like, you know, create a website on their platform and whatnot. So they had some good revenues over the years until it came out that, you know, these guys were inflating revenues. Essentially what they did is, you know, the founder had like a founder friend in India. He's Indian, but like he's based in the UK. And they would send like $1 million to this company. They would send it back counter as like $2 million.
Upgraded Ponzi schemes.
Do you get? So, I mean, over time, like, obviously in the financials, it's saying that the company is growing, blah, blah, blah. But when the audits start to happen and they see the lapse in your like trajectory or predicted, you know, growth and where you are when, you know, the audits happen, there's a mismatch there and it can come to bite you now. So for me, I would say just be honest, right, in telling your story and telling the numbers as it is, and don't kind of fall into the trap of lying about the numbers, especially if you know like the market you're in is going to be hard for you to get there, because there's markets where you kind of project bigger numbers than it is, but you can get to those numbers. However, in some markets, nah, not really. But yeah, just be honest, I guess.
Have you ever seen a story fall apart because the messaging didn't match reality?
Yes.
Okay, so without naming reasons, you as an example.
Okay, so there is this startup that, let's say, let me not use the real numbers. So let's say they raised $20 million in equity and in debt, so 10 each. And this also tracks back to when I talk about don't announce when you don't have the money in the bank, all right? And they announced that we have raised 20 million, blah, blah, blah. We want to use it to do this, expand to this and that. And then 2 years later, the company is saying that they've kind of like want to shut down. Where's the $20 million that you raised? Eventually, you know, the news was that the lead investor didn't wire the entire money. So like they didn't even wire half of it, right? And other investors too didn't put in commitment of the money. So what you should understand too when you're raising funds is some investors or some companies raising tranches. So like when they meet some certain goals, the money comes in, while some just kind of raise it as it is. So this company was a victim for the first one, where you have to meet certain goals before the money comes in.
Fundraising stories are often written for the media, but the real audience is sometimes investors, customers, or even regulators. How should founders tailor their messages depending on who is listening?
That's a good question. And I think also optimize for different, will I say, media, right? When you're looking for the audience you want to talk to. So for instance, with investors, like it's a good avenue, for instance, to use TechCrunch, because lots of investors are there, right? I'm not trying to sell that, but yeah, because lots of investors read TechCrunch, Financial Times, Bloomberg, we're making certain decisions and who to back and who not to back. So investors want to signal who else is investing in you, who has invested like in the seed, Series A, Series B, whatever, right before, you know, they get interested in you. Like they want to also see growth, market opportunity, and a clear sense that you know your business, especially with traction, right? They want to see like good numbers and see that you're making progress. So a place like TechCrunch, Bloomberg, all those international publications, especially because Africa, at pre-seed seed level, you can find local investors to back you, right, with angels and the VCs. But when you start to go to Series A and Series B, you kind of have to look outside because we don't have enough local capital here to back all the tech startups that need funding. So that's why it's important to have that signaling to investors abroad. All right. I think as the last 2023, 60 to 70% of all venture in Africa was from, abroad.
But can you share a lesson from a poorly communicated funding story?
So this happened in Kenya maybe like 2 years ago. It's public knowledge. It's a startup called Kune. It's a food tech startup, and so the founder is an expatriate. She's a white guy that has lived in Kenya for 4 years, and he found out that there are no like cheap good meals in Kenya, and decided to build a platform, a cloud kitchen platform to do that. And when he raised I think it was the 1 million seed round, he announced on TechCrunch, and it was on Twitter and LinkedIn. Kenyans came for him down. What do you mean there is no like cheap good meals in Kenya? Right, like he has like this savior complex, blah blah blah. The narrative was bad.
What's your single biggest piece of advice to early stage founders preparing to raise money and speak to the press?
For early stage founders, I'll be like pre-seed and seed. I think also back to my earlier statement about owning your story and your narrative. Like the founder is the spirit of the business, right? You know why you started it. You know the problem you're solving, the solution you're creating, and just try and tie that to your audience, right? To the customers, to investors, to regulators, to the average tech reader on why what you're doing is important, right? And clearly communicate that. Like, don't be vague about it. We're doing this for XYZ and we've raised some money to do this, and this is how we plan to do it. Is a good way to start. And yeah, I think that's the advice, like just a summary of everything like we've talked about.
So my last question to you will be, can you tell us how fundraising communication is evolving in Africa startup space, especially as more global attention and scrutiny comes in?
Evolving, I would say storytelling is becoming more important. It's always been important, right? But there is more emphasis on that now because, a lot of people are doing, there are more startups now than 5-10 years ago. Like, especially like in Nigeria, there are more fintechs that's not a dig, but it's
sure. Okay.
But yeah, so it's like you want to stand out. You want to clearly, talk about what you're doing. A good example of that is MoneyPoint. Like over the last couple of years, you see, for instance, I would say MoneyPoint and Flutterwave in the sense that, so the founders, like, they're unicorns now, but every like messaging out there, you see them
tying it back to a story.
Yeah, to a story, like on their LinkedIn and all that, like Twitter. There's always a story. This is why we're doing this. Even if it's just very trivial, right? There's like a story behind it. They just come out and say, we process these numbers without putting story.
But TechCrunch will not carry the story. It's always about fundraising. So look at you telling us about storytelling.
You can still do storytelling without TechCrunch. Right, so like that's.
But you're saying it's still a no if it's not fundraising. But okay.
If the numbers are good, for instance, what company was? I think it was Move.
We want to do something fun with Tage called Pitch or Pass.
Pitch or Pass.
I will be reading out some heads.
I'm an investor now, or is
it? Your Page.
Oh, that's boring. But
that's it. You want to be an investor? Yeah. We will do something.
Sure.
If it's worth covering, when I read the headlines, you say pitch it, right? If you say no, you say pass, right? And maybe you can even be gracious enough to explain why. The first headline would be, Nigerian founder raises $10 million Series A, says funding was manifested through intentional alignments.
If that's the pitch to me, I don't think I'm going to cover it, unless maybe within the pitch there's something that explains what alignment. Yeah, it's a pass. If that's going to be the headline, or I think it's a pass. What do you mean?
Okay, the second healthline is, stealth mode AI crypto fintech secure angel funding to redefine African consciousness. And sign up to
Stealth mode AI crypto fintech.
secures angel funding.
That's the hard part.
The third one is startup raises undisclosed seed round.
I think I mentioned it before.
You didn't let me finish.
The only time I've done an undisclosed announcement is Money Point when they were team upped.
Were you biased?
I was biased. So I have I have editors I answer to, and I think it was the period where they had changed to Money Point, and they had this growth story that was unimaginable at the time. So it was a good opportunity to kind of tell that story without putting so much focus on how much they raised, because the story was very compelling.
So you had a stronger narrative. So it was not just empty. It's what I see. Okay, so the last one is Kenyan agri-tech closes $5 million Series A with plans to expand across 20 countries.
That's more, that makes sense. We've done this for this kind of thing. So raise 5 million agri-tech, right?
Yeah.
So it's span across
20 countries.
I mean, it's too small. But, we've done this, we've raised this for this purpose kind of thing. So yeah, I think and it's 5 million, so it's a bit.
Yes, thank you so much for coming on our stage. This was really insightful, and we see why you reject a lot of pitches. You have given us more insights as to why that happens.
Thank you. Yes, and I'm glad that I came here to actually put out there. People will not.
They say go watch.
Yeah. Actually, just thinking about it now, just gonna watch it and know when to pitch.
Thank you so much. Okay.